Can we start?
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. Good evening, one and all. On behalf of SMMCA family, I welcome you all for the webinar today. Srimati Manorama Bai Mulye Department of Architecture was started in the session 93-94 and was elevated to the status of a college in 2008. In 2018, the college celebrated the 25th year of its successful presence by organizing an international conference, Paradox to Paradigm, Architecture in the Age of Network Society. Though we initiated a deliberation on network society 2 years ago, we never anticipated that it will be a reality so soon. We have suddenly become a 100% network society due to this ongoing pandemic. SMMCA offers MArch in Architecture Education program for the last 13 years, along with MArch in Urban Design, which was initiated in 2019. We also offer a PhD program apart from BArch course. Architecture is one of the humane professions like medicine. Graduating with a bachelor's degree in architecture is an accomplishment worthy of celebration. At this juncture in your life, when you have completed or are about to complete your BArch, the decisions you take, the choices that you make will have a profound effect on your future life. A master's course widens horizons and enriches the thought process. It is a choice to be made considering your potential and career goals. This webinar, titled Masters in Architecture, Prospects and Options, aims to discuss about the various options available to pursue master's course along with future prospects after completion. Moving forward, according to the minimum standards of architecture education regulations of 2017, this is a list of courses that are approved by the Council of Architecture to pursue an MArch degree. So these are the few of the courses. Looking at these courses, depending on the specialization that would be achieved, these courses can be broadly divided into these 6 categories, which can be architectural design, planning, sustainability, construction management, allied design courses, and digital technology. So all these courses which were listed earlier can be divided in certain categories according to the stream or the subcategory. So architectural design, it includes various streams such as urban design, interior design, architecture education, and on the other hand, planning. So housing, urban planning, city, town and country planning, transport planning are some of the fields which can be included under this category. Then we come to sustainability, where sustainable design, HVAC design, building services, building automation can be included. While construction management, there is project management, construction management, habitat management, real estate management. In the allied design courses, we can think of product design, visual communication, industrial design, graphic design, and many more. And lastly, digital technology, which is an upcoming field where it is computer aided design or digital architecture. We have listed down certain colleges and the links for which these colleges give the certain type of education in that particular field. This can be shared later with you, with the students. Now, to elaborate more on the topic, I would like to invite Dr. Ujjwala Chakradev, Principal SMMCA Nagpur, to give her views on the same. Dr. Ujjwala Chakradev is an urban planner and architecture educationalist. She is also the president of MASA, Maharashtra Association of Schools of Architecture. She has multiple research projects and papers to her credit. Please, ma'am, I welcome you.
Thank you, Purnima. And first of all, before I say something, I would like to congratulate you all. You are one of us, our college itself. But this is the most important webinar for someone who is seeking for what to do in future. We all have gone through this stage. After graduation, we are just in a dilemma whether to go for a practice, whether to go for a job, or whether to take up a post graduation. Now, once we decide out of these three options that we have to take up a post graduation, another dilemma starts. Which option to be chosen? Which course to be taken up? Who offers these courses? Where to go? Whether in India, outside India, whether in Nagpur, outside Nagpur, and which college, why this course, what will happen after this course, what will be my future after that. Many things crop up, and we keep visiting people who are into this field, and then we try to take up one or two or something then which is best possible at that moment. I think in this era, when the information is amply available, we need to be well equipped before we decide where to go, what to take up, and how to go about it. Actually, this webinar is not necessarily only for those who are in the final year, but those who are in fourth year should also decide right now what are their likings. Just now Purnima showed the options, plethora of options for post graduation, and definitely you would like to do, anybody would like to take up the best possible and the best possible college as well where these are being offered. Now, why do we need to do it? As actually, you can architecture profession is such a profession that we can very easily just jump into the practice, and that's best possible way. And yet, there are so many options for the post graduation. And in today's webinar, you will be informed about all those options. You will be also informed about many ways in which, so I'm not taking your time about that particular aspect, which is going to be well taken up in the coming hour. But what I want to share with you all is that the most important thing when you are doing your post graduation is to be self motivated. You have to have an urge from within. You just can't say that somebody is saying, asking me to spend my time and spend 2 hours, so I'll postpone my some other activity and just take admission somewhere so that I can enjoy the college life once again. You have been in your graduation for 5 years, which is quite a long time to be spent in the college and you have enjoyed your college days. In post graduation, there's something peculiar. We in architecture education, we talk about pedagogy. We also talk about andragogy as well. Now, pedagogy is something where you hold the hand of a child and try to teach how to go about. Even when the child is walking, we hold and then say, this is how you have to do it. This pedagogy is meant for undergraduate courses. In post-graduation, it is andragogy, that is self-motivation. Let us do it, how to do it, exploring things, going beyond what's happening in the classroom, and that's what kind of a ambience and the way of working in post-graduation goes on. So I would say that you have to prepare yourself for that kind of an attitude, where obviously once you go for post-graduation, that kind of an attitude develops automatically. Yet this is something which you can also develop within you. Today, all those options which are possible in India, outside India, will be shared with you. All those courses which have been sanctioned and approved by Council of Architecture will also be shared with you, and the details of those will also be talked to you about. However, the most important thing that I feel is you can go beyond these courses which will be shared. You can think about many more radically different options. Actually, what I have seen over the years is a person who has become an architect because of the academics or because of the kind of a training which you have undergone in these 5 years, all of you are actually equipped to take up any challenge creatively. So whether it is a general administration or whether it is probably a management course. So management courses, photography courses, and something which are off the track, off the record can also be taken up by most of you. And you can think about that as well. So if you feel you are interested in a particular course or particular activity, so analyze and try to find out your likings and try to explore things. The most easy and the simple options probably would not work for future. This is the time to be ready with what you want to really do further, and this webinar is going to help you out to take your decisions, and I'm sure you will be happy that you had guidelines through this webinar. I welcome you all once again, and I thank our organizers for thinking about this particular kind of a webinar and explain as much possible to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving forward, I would like to invite architect Kaushal Jaju, who is an urban planner, graduated from CEPT Ahmedabad. He has his own practice and is also into academics since 2013. Please, sir.
Thank you. I would like to start with a basic question, because the people, the audience that we have almost are in the final year or like they have submitted thesis. So the very common question comes, next what next, whatever ways. So, and that bothers you, the people around you, and that is going to be the question, especially the people who are in the the final year of the or maybe just submitted the thesis. So we'll start with the presentation. And meanwhile, we can also go ahead with the few questions or few important aspects. Is it visible? Vajanti ma'am, is it visible?
Please share the screen, sir, please.
Is it visible now?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, so that is the very common question frequently asked.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Sir, but I think you have stopped screen sharing.
Is it there now?
Yes, sir, now it's there.
Okay, yeah. So this is going to be the question for most of us. So basic possibility, there are few options that one could join a firm, or maybe after a while start own works, practice. One could enter teaching. There is this domain of research, architectural journalism getting popular gradually, and of course a thought of going and pursuing a specialization. And there are few who could also think of diversifying. Okay, if you could extend that, maybe and choose some other program which suits you or which is part of your interest. But then the main question is why one has to be very decisive. One important component is to identify your interests, what are your forte, what are your inclinations, what are your long-term goals, and there's a lot about the knowledge that the field you want to pursue, or and also there's this component of monetary returns. But the very important factor comes is the competition or the awareness is going up. Just to share a few things, this is the number of colleges that we have in India. This is referred from Council of Architecture website, and this is a very recent data. And if you just consider minimum 40 students, on an average, you have 23,000 architects getting, graduated. Extending this, I just referred one more thing again from Council website. If you can see the the number of architects getting registered in 2018 and 19, the number has really gone up. If you can just compare with 2011-12, it's almost 4 times to 5 times. So that also indicates that the people getting graduated, the number is really high, going up. Just another quick small reference to have. There are few cities. I just took top 10 cities in the country which have more than 500 architects. So, and yes, I guess many people, many participants are from Nagpur. So Nagpur is again, top in the list. And Nagpur really has few good colleges, even for, if you think of further education. One more small comparison. There is another entrance usually happening every year, referred as GATE. If you can see the numbers, the people appearing for the exam, 2010 it was less than 2000, and 2020 this year, almost within 9-10 years, it has gone 5 times. So this is also one more indication that the things are changing and there's a lot of awareness and competition which is rising. Yes, there are few reasons which people apt or select, as Chakradev ma'am stated. There's a need of more knowledge. There's this hunger of to study more, to know more. Maybe one can think of more income, better work profile. I want to be working in a better position. And yes, now this is one more reason that people choose. I have also observed that there's this need or some compulsion, that there is some necessity. So people choose that. And there are few parameters when if one is thinking of a specialization. There are people who think of the institute. There could be a reason or a priority to the program, the discipline. There could now this becomes important, as everyone is aware. There's this whole pandemic on, and we are not very sure how long it would affect. So now this, and it also was a criteria always. It's about the culture of the place, of that city, and yes, how near it is to your the main town, the city that you belong to. There are people who think also of this. There are a lot of programs, as Purnima ma'am introduced to you. There are larger specializations as urban planning. There are programs in detail, so design, that has urban design, landscape, conservation, interior construction management. There are also more diversified fields, film and video communication, animation, transportation design, automobile design. So there are so many programs. As Chakradev ma'am said, it's up to the individual how much you can explore, and you can get to the the variety, the options that you are available with. There are few important entrance exam that we have in India. SEED, common entrance exam for design, that's more for MDes. So another is GATE. That also allows you to have funding, scholarship from, now at that used to be Ministry of Human Resources Development. Now it is Ministry of Education. Recently it's updated after you have this national education policy. That also helps you to enter a few PSUs, also to join some government organizations. CET very much for Maharashtra colleges, and yes, NIT. I've just listed few. There are so many institutes and colleges. There are a few institutes. You have all different IITs, IISc Bangalore, SPS, Delhi, Bhopal, Vijayawada, NITs, NIDSET, IIHS, TERI. There are also tests. You also have colleges in Nagpur. Now this could be for at least the current context becomes important, because like Nagpur has SMMC, has urban design, architecture education, VNIT as it has urban planning. considering the current, the whole picture, the whole scenario, you have to consider this, because it's about the program that SMMC has, this program Urban Design, which is almost unique in the central part of the country. And it's also about the nearness. If you really want to be in Nagpur and nearby places of say 90, 100 odd kilometers, so this becomes really a good choice, provided you are interested in the program, if you really incline towards that. There are, I now switch to a few important programs, if just to touch upon what urban planning is. Urban planning is all about, you know, the urban growth, the urban development happening. As individual, as a student, you are involved into all of that. There's a lot of qualitative study, quantitative study, field work. So it's a next skill. It's not just staying at a building. It's about going to the next level at the city level, and also dealing with policies, physical aspects of the city. And I've just listed few important programs in a larger umbrella called urban planning. So as you can see, that has urban planning, transport planning. We could just quickly introduce to the programs. So urban planning is all about a physical, social, economic and ecological aspect of a city and urban settlement, and then understanding the issues, the problems, and then of course coming up with a solution in a systematic, planned manner. And there are a lot of career opportunities. There is a lot of career prospect. You could enter some private firms, some national, international consultancy firms, government organizations. You could also try with some ministry post as an urban planner. So there's a lot of opportunity. One could also think of taking up research. So urban planning, in a sense, it's more of a holistic program. There are a few more programs. It also has transport planning. Title is very much obvious. It's all about things related to the transport systems. It's to do with the planning of transport, design, operations. You know, any development which is part of the current transport development in any country is now this is the, you could say, part of the ongoing urban development program. Could be part of Metropolitan and City Development Authority, traffic cells, some bus corporations, metro rail. So this is a very interest specific program. If you're really interested in this, you could think of that. Another program very known, urban housing. So that's again the title is very obvious. It's all about habitat development. It can talk about local housing market, elements of housing policy, finance. It's also about disaster management, post disaster, whatever development is required in a specified time, and that also has a lot of job opportunities and prospects. So one could also take up some private jobs, some public sector institutions could also take up some research. There are a few ongoing government schemes of India like Rajiv Awas Yojana, PMAY. So a lot of schemes you could be part of that as urban housing planner. Another program, urban infrastructure. So that's all about infrastructure at a larger level, at city level. Could be about water supply, sanitation. So that is to do with infrastructure which is at a larger scale, which also takes care of, could also include ports development, airports, SEZ, so all of that. Just to mention a few ongoing programs, you have smart cities, you have Amrut. So as infrastructure planner, as infrastructure expert, you could also become part of these schemes as an architect and an expert planner and be part of the development. So this is again that program which is part of, and I just mentioned few important websites. So that is all coming from few institutions and then council website. So I think this just acts as a platform to choose upon a certain program. But then yes, that's very important. One really has to be very thoughtful, careful. What to choose, and the question is, why do you really want to invest the important 2 years of your career? But there's this concept called opportunity cost. So I think that's important because that involves a lot of other investment beyond money. So that's also about your precious time, which would involve your 2 years as a graduate, as an architect. So I think it really becomes very significant and very sensible. How do you really go ahead in whatever ways, if you're thinking of a post-graduation program, you really need to be very thoughtful and, you know, like introspective. So I think, thank you. We could stop here. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. A reminder to all the participants to put your questions in the chat box. We'll have a question answer session at the end of the presentations. Next, I would like to welcome Dr. Priya Chaudhary, who will enlighten us about the different streams of higher studies in architecture. Dr. Chaudhary has done her master's in urban planning from SPA Delhi and is currently working as a professor at SMMCA Nagpur. She also has her own successful practice. Welcome, ma'am. Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Purnima. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
And the screen is also seen.
Yeah, it's clear.
Good evening, one and all. This webinar, when we are talking about Masters in Architecture, I remember one scene from one of the old movies by Shah Rukh Khan. In that movie, there was a father. The role was played by Nasiruddin Shah, and every time he was Shah Rukh Khan, whenever met him and on the roads, and he asked the father, "Where are you going, father?" He said, "All बेटा सब रास्ता गॉड की तरफ ही जाता है." Similarly, when we are talking about various options of masters in architecture, one thing is very sure, that if you decide to go for masters in architecture, it will surely enrich you and make you a better designer, which is your forte. Being in architecture, design is the soul of architecture, and this taking any option from the masters in architecture, whatever option you choose, no doubt it will certainly enrich you and make your horizons much more wider. So that is the one thing. Now coming back to the topic of today's discussion, as Purnima said that these are the various categories wherein she talked about the courses on planning, courses on architecture design, sustainability, construction management, digital architecture, so on and so forth. Kaushal has already elaborated on the various options that are available in planning courses, and as a planner myself, I would like to say that planning courses need a certain kind of what we can say aptitude. You may or may not be a good designer, but you can always be a good planner, because the kind of logical thinking and the systematic approach that is needed for planning courses. So the point is, you need to assess your own self as to what are my strengths, virtues, and based on you can choose the courses. So in my presentation, I am trying to talk about the various courses related to design, sustainability, construction management, and digital architecture. Coming to the first option, that is PG courses in sustainable architecture, there are varied courses available under this heading, which are related to sustainable design, appropriate technology, HVAC design, building services, building automation, urban infrastructure, etc. Now, what actually these courses in sustainable design talk about? So, they talk about the design aspects wherein one can try to lessen the impact of human activities on nature and environment through adaptation of appropriate methods and techniques. Building construction activity is the one of the, I would say, the first activity which has the maximum impact on the environment. We generate through demolition, and we generate lot of pollution, maximum amount of. So we surpass transportation and industry also. There is always a myth that transportation generates or industrial activities generate more pollution and waste, but actually it is the building activity. So we need to be much more sensitive, responsible towards these activity of building new structures. And this understanding can be achieved through learning innovative changes to current production methods and behavior models to better preserve the natural world. And by pursuing this PG degree in sustainable design, it can help you to see more clearly the relationship between human activity and environmental impact, and it can also sharpen your creative design skills and develop problem solving skills. It will involve certain kind of calculations because as you have studied in climatology, heat gain or the other aspects, all that will be part of such kind of sustainable design studies. Embodied heat, U values and so many other factors. So it will be slightly calculation oriented courses, most of these. And the job prospects, if we talk about, this has a very bright future as of now because green concern for the green building is very much there, and it has to be. We don't have any option but to go green. And you must be knowing about the various organization like IGBC India, Griha, and LEED, etc., wherein they give rating to the buildings, or these buildings are evaluated. So if you go through any of these courses, you can become a green building consultant, you can become an evaluator wherein you can visit the buildings and give star ratings to these buildings. So these are the other most important job prospects. Then also you can work under public or private entities wherein you can create certain sustainable green ways for producing goods, designing buildings, infrastructure, and maintaining modern lifestyle. So ECBC norms, if you are aware of, an energy conservation building code, this is going to be mandatory in an year or so. In that case, every architect needs to have this approach inculcated. Even if you go for architectural design practice, this is very much needed. Then second course is I'm talking about is related to construction management. This construction management course will help you develop the skills required to take on all on-site responsibilities of a construction project. You as an architect, you must have designed a very good structure. You might have created good working drawings for that structure. But at the end of the day, if the success of that design will lie on its actual implementation, the correct implementation on site. And for that, this very much stream of construction management comes into picture. So the responsibilities that one needs to take up if working as construction manager will be related to managing the budget, project expenses, managing construction workers, collaborating with architects and all other consultants, civil engineers, structural engineers, or nowadays you have so many consultants, SVHC consultant, fire consultant. So the main role of construction manager would be to coordinate with all other consultant, and they will have to manage the time frames which are stipulated, the finances that are stipulated, safety concerns of the workers, etc. Uh, the job prospects include arbitrator, building control surveyor, building services engineer, construction manager, estate manager. Large estates of certain chain of hotels or some other things will need an estate manager to manage all their large estates. So for that also they need such kind of a trained person. Then estimator, you can also become fire consultant. wherein this digital architecture is a very good upcoming field for post graduation, which wherein uh, it will help the designers to use various digital tools to come up with new solutions. So during the course, the students will be studying the various digital software tools design, processes for architectural visualization, advanced construction and building automation, computational design, parametric modeling, BIM, building performance analysis, then historical building information modeling, rapid prototyping, so on and so forth. Uh, this course will help you to get the knowledge and methodologies and reasoning behind softwares. You must have heard of various softwares apart from the very basic ones that we usually use like Revit, SketchUp, Lumion or AutoCAD. There are many more softwares which are used by architects like Franco Gehry or Zaha Hadid or other architects who have come up with very interesting forms, and those forms wouldn't have been possible with the kind of softwares we right now use. So they go for certain different type of softwares which can be learnt under this post graduation course, and it helps to reorganize the design process and design thinking and employ technology to embrace the emergent practice of non-standard architecture. And the job prospects, you obviously will have various opportunities now with this pandemic, and wherein we are becoming more of network society. Understanding of digital architecture is going to be must. You will have also job prospects in film industry, animation and simulation, etc. Now coming to the most important part for us as architects, wherein we are mostly interested, these courses right now I already talked about are slightly deviated from architecture. If you are hardcore architect and hardcore designer, then you are more interested into the PG courses in architectural design, which include heritage or building conservation, urban design, interior design, landscape architecture, architecture technology, architecture education, and architecture theory. All these are having overlapping domains. Even the earlier courses I talked about, or all these courses that I talk about, they have overlapping domains. They are not like watertight compartments, but yes, they have their own certain content, which is major content matter in that course, and have a certain inclination. Now coming to the all these courses, as architecture is all about making places, so these courses, may it be landscape design or may it be urban design or may it be conservation, it is all about making places, preserving places, making them more human, very intensely experiential and emotional. So this all these courses all about spaces and places. Coming to the first option in this category, that is architectural or architecture conservation or heritage conservation. The names are slightly different in different universities or different colleges, but more or less they talk about the conservation aspect, and they talk about the special requirements of built heritage comprising of historic buildings, group of buildings, areas, cities and cultural landscape in comprehensive manner. In India, we have more than 26 World Heritage Sites, and apart from that, there is an enormous wealth of heritage in terms of heritage buildings, and it needs a lot of preservation and care, and we seriously need more professionals in this field as of now, because largely in case of India, the local and national level heritage, all level of heritage buildings are mostly ignored and needs more preservation. Uh, it also can create a major sector in economy and with tourism. So this is also an important aspect. Uh, this is also a multidisciplinary stream that aims at training architects in conservation talking about the preservation of buildings, but you talk about their history, structural issues, and documentation. So they have job prospects in various fields like historic preservation, heritage management, etc. You must have studied of adaptive reuse, which is also part of conservation. Landscape design talks about the techniques used to add aesthetic value to open spaces, and it includes in-depth knowledge about landscape architecture, garden design. It is not only talking about small scale of landscape, but talk about the larger regional landscape through ecology, landscape planning, wetland, wasteland management, etc. There are also large scale projects such as industrial, residential, institutional projects, wherein there is a need of a landscape architect apart from the architectural design. And this program educate candidates about services of landscape architecture, so on and so forth. Now coming to the another important stream, that is urban design. And urban design is concerned with arrangement, appearance and function of our suburb, towns and cities. This urban design course, or urban design as a stream of design, is very recent, and it is very much more aligned to architectural design. It is just a extension of architectural design. Uh, it involves design and coordination of all that makes up cities and towns. So the elements of urban design are buildings, which we are already into. That is, as designers, architects, we are always into design of buildings. But from buildings, it goes to the public spaces, streets, transport, and landscape. So buildings are the important elements of design, but apart from that, it talks about the group of buildings and the open spaces within those buildings, talks about squares and other important spaces within. More importantly, urban design is not about just the physical aspect of these spaces, but it is more about the interaction between the users and the spaces. So it is more about the people. So urban design is more about the people and users and what kind of spaces they need. So if you look at the spectrum, you can understand where it actually sits with reference to all other disciplines that we are talking about. So from city level to the building level, somewhere in between, it sits between the planning. If you look at the design of whole spectrum of design of built environment, urban planning is at one end and architectural design it as at the other end, and in between this urban planning and architectural design somewhere sits the urban design. Now in our college we already have this master's course in urban design, so I am just quickly going through few aspects so as to make you more understand about the various design courses. These are the few slides sharing students' work. So in first semester, we usually have a kind of a design studio project wherein the understanding of the how to analyze an urban area and what are the various terminologies that are used, what are the methods and techniques that are used for understanding first of all the urban spaces, because if you talk about urban scenario, it is very complex and involves lot of forces, so understanding them all is the first part of it. So you understand the various components as I have already listed earlier. These are the few just works. Then another important component of urban design first is to understand the context. Then how, even if you are working as an architect, when you are talking about a design of a building within a context, then what are the parameters of that contextual design? In case of any urban city or any city, whatever you design within the plot boundary is not isolated. It is related to its surrounding context and how these surrounding context and the influences of that needs to be taken care of while designing the building is also part of urban design. So even if you are just interested in practicing as an architect in your future, I think the exposure of urban design will make you more socially, environmentally, and uh, environmentally and morally responsible architect. So the next project is about a library wherein it was the various forces of context how one can take care of while designing a building within the site was deliberated upon. And then in next semester in the studio project, the design was related to a larger area and redesigning that. So it was a smart city. Nagpur is a smart city project, ongoing project. So we analyzed the existing scenario in that smart city and came up with the proposals. These are again the works of some of the students. You can understand. See, these PG courses also brings in a lot of systematic approach within you. So look at the way the things have to be projected, then communicated, how your graphic design has to be appropriated. All those things one can learn through any of these PG courses related to architecture design. So when you are practicing as an architect, you have to convince your client, you have to make them believe in your visions that you are projecting as your own designs, and it's not an easy task. For that you need to be very systematic in your approach for communication, and all that one can understand through such kind of works. Apart from that, we have study tools, extracurricular activities. Most importantly, we have an MOU with MRSAT, Maharashtra Regional Remote Sensing and Application Center is there in the Nagpur, and we have MOU with it because geoinformatics as information technology is already an important aspect of our life, but with this pandemic, it has become much more important aspect of our life. And uh, all the information that we deal with as a planner or as an urban designer or even as an architect is geologically linked. It has its own coordinates. It is geospatial data, and how to manage all that geospatial data is called as geographical information system. That is also a very important upcoming field for all us architects and planners, because most of this more what we can say expert in this field will be needed henceforth. So we have that MRSAC. I mean, the students get very well trained in this GIS. There are lots of job opportunities in GIS field, upcoming opportunities. Even if you see the poll data that is projected in the news channels at the time of announcement of result, all that is part of GIS system, because the constituency from which the some candidate is won is a geographical data, and that needs to be assigned appropriately. These are some of the glimpses. Lot of experts are invited, webinars are also held. So I just stop here. I would say that you have just begun your journey. It's a long way to go, and take right decisions at this moment. Embark on the journey, enjoy it. Most important thing while making any choices, not just the PG course, but any choices in your life, is that whether I'm enjoying it or not. If not, then I need to change the choice. So that is all. Thank you so much. And I stop sharing my screen now. And another interesting PG course, which is very peculiar course, is postgraduate course in architecture education, which is very rare also. There are only 2 colleges in all over India which are offering this course, and one of them is our college. And this course, architecture education, not to a certain teaching profession, but it also opens up lots of other opportunities. And to talk more about it, I will like to invite Dr. Lakshmi Rao Madam. She is an educationist herself, having post PhD degree in education, and she is coordinator for our PG course at SMMCA. So I invite Lakshmi Rao Madam to talk more about this peculiar course, which is part of architecture design, MRC in architecture education.
Yeah, thank you, Priya. I'll just share my screen. Just a moment. Is it visible?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Clear enough.
Yeah. Good evening, friends. As Priya said, the peculiar course and a very exciting course in all the masters of architecture. The other ones you already know about it. Welcome to this exciting world of architecture education. In fact, till a couple of years back, we were the only college in India offering this course. And this course now has been offered at one more place in India. We commenced this from 2007 and 2008 session. This is the 14th year of the course. The only one course of its kind in India. We are recognized by the Council of Architecture, the Government of Maharashtra. We are affiliated to the Nagpur University. And though SMMCA undergraduate program is only for women, the postgraduate program, both in urban design and in architecture education, is a co-education program which have an intake of 20 each. Now, what's so exciting about this program? Why did I use this word exciting? Number one, it focuses on pedagogy, like Chakrade madam talked to you about pedagogy. Pedagogy, as all of us know, is the science of teaching and learning. Now one designs, one works in the studio, one becomes an architect. But you know, when the shoe is on the other foot, when you go on the teacher's side, suddenly you realize how difficult it is to teach something called design. I mean, how do you teach design? A lot of architects have so many opinions on this. The design evolves, design comes on its own, it comes from within, all so on and so forth. All these are true. Yet sometimes there is a particular method by which a student is led through the design process. And a person who finishes a pedagogical course in architecture education will know how to lead the student to become a better designer, and you in turn will become a better design teacher. So it's a 4-semester course, out of which 3 semesters are college based with, it's college based. The 4th semester is training. Either you train with a college, which you would prefer because we want to become a teacher, or you can train with a very senior architect. Where you work out on design philosophy of the architect, where you examine your own design philosophy, and so on and so forth. Architect Jaju told you about the number of people rising, the number of registered architects rising. He's quoted statistics. Sooner or later, in spite of the pandemic, the country is going to lead more and more architects. So hence more and more architecture colleges, and hence more and more trained architecture teachers. Chakrade madam is always fond of saying that one trained teacher is equal to 10 untrained teachers. So Our process is to create professional design teachers. Now, in case you're thinking about only teaching as a profession, please remember that we have in our number of students, we have a number of people who are coming in from practice to do this course, not because they want to teach. In addition, they want to become better designers. And from their feedback, we have realized that people in the profession, in professional practice, they always say that after doing this program, we have realized how better to deal with people on the site, how better to focus on our design, how better to examine our design philosophy. And so it works both ways. If you want to go into teaching, this is the perfect course. But if you want to become, if you're still into profession and if you want to kind of have a different look at your design philosophy, this is again the course for you. Now, what are the course contents here? The course contents are psychology. Architecture will not function without psychological inputs and without sociology, because architect doesn't exist out of society. Architect doesn't exist outside the user. So it focuses on psychology. The course covers how you think, how you behave, how students behave, how students learn, how we teachers learn. It focuses on experiential learning, which you know is a backbone of architecture learning, learning from experience. It looks at different theories about how people learn by experience. It tells you how you behave in a particular situation. It tells you how students behave in a particular situation. And if you extrapolate it, it will teach you how your client behaves in a particular situation. Then we have subjects on appreciation and criticism. We have a subject on behavior and expression of structures. Basically we don't, I like to just interject here and say, we don't teach you structures or construction. We don't teach you design. This course assumes you're a good designer. This course assumes you're well versed with the UG curriculum. We don't teach you structures, but we go to a higher level. We are talking about behavior and expression of structures, how to teach it if it comes to that, how to teach construction principles and techniques. I told you we don't exist without society. So how green buildings have a role to play in society today? What are the sociological foundations on which these green buildings are based? And then we look at different art forms and how they are related to architectural design. All unusual, because you will not find them in a traditional course on any architecture traditional course. Now, our studios are also different. You know, studios go into a formal way. You have a studio brief, you have the objectives of the studio, and then you work, and then you have an output. In a UG level, most of the outputs were tangible studio product. You're having a design. Here, our students decide the studio. So we start with discussion. We, as discussion process progresses, suddenly the students come up with an idea as to where the studio will go. So, you know, it's kind of the borders of the studio are open-ended. So you start, that's why it's exciting, because you don't know. Suddenly, you know, you get in architecture education, we are all used to eureka moments. Aha, oh, I got it. This is what I want to do. So studios evolve. Creativity is a big fundamental aspect of architecture education program, because you've been talked about, you've been told by your teachers, think creatively. But what does it mean to think creatively? What does it mean to develop creativity? What does it mean to learn about creative thinking techniques? So naturally, creativity is a backbone of this course. So once creativity, you learn, you work, you read on creativity, naturally your outputs also keep on coming differently. So our studios, apart from portfolios, one portfolio in 2 years was a movie. Some portfolios were films, some portfolios were books. So, you know, portfolio will differ from year to year, depending on how the studios evolve and how the students will take the studio forward. One more thing is you get another experience. We generally students at the third semester level conduct studios for students at undergraduate level. Now the shoe again is on the other foot. So, you realize what it means to conduct a studio. When you were a student, it was different, but what it means to be on the other side and conduct a studio, given all the inputs on pedagogy, how to teach, what to teach, how students learn, what is the science of teaching, what are the principles of teaching, what are the principles of learning, all these inputs once you get, then when you conduct the studio, you get a feeling that yes, something is different when I'm on the other side, when I'm on the teacher's side. So that's another experience which you gain in this particular program. Some very random sheets which I'm showing. This is one on appreciation and criticism in architecture, where the students studied the Kailash temple at Ellora. This is one whole studio was devoted to creativity, developing creative exercises. So our SMMCA is well known for its bank of creative exercises, and the PG Department of Architecture Education does its own small bit in adding to that already existing huge bank. So creativity, lots of things on creativity. This was the studio which we had on creativity and creative thinking, how to generate a creative stimulus, how to create a creative environment, how to generate creative thinking, something which is called higher order thinking. It is in pedagogy. You come to know about it once you enter the course. And then this is one of the most exciting portfolios we have. Every student in that particular thing, we were talking about senses in architecture. How do you experience a building through your own 5 senses? The sense of touch, smell, vision, auditory, and the kinesthetic sense. When we started discussing this, we thought it would come out in the form of a portfolio. We would generate a portfolio. But then when discussions came up, we realized that students were writing stories. They were saying, I went to this temple, I experienced this. As I stood outside this building, I felt this. So during discussions, students used to bring write-ups. When I stood outside this particular monument, I got a feeling inside me that this is happening, that is happening. And they used to write it down, they used to document it. And as every discussion started documentation, suddenly one day, Dr. Chakradev came up with this idea. Instead of a portfolio, why don't we convert all your writings into a book? So this was the portfolio. Each student wrote their own books. Most 2-3 books have been copyrighted. Books were given names. 1 or 2 have they are in the process of being published. And one student who felt that she was better writing in Marathi, we allowed her. So she wrote the book in Marathi. It was her experience about experiencing whatever she felt at Sevagram. People traveled all over India to experience, come back and write. So this is one of our most exciting portfolios, very different from an architectural portfolio. We have always been participating in the Thesis Awards program of Council from the time the PG Awards were started. One of our students, who is now an assistant professor with us, Renuka, was awarded the runners-up prize at the 2015 PG Thesis Awards program. Then we have 3 intellectual property rights. Most of you have heard of patents. Most of you have heard of copyrights, trademarks. We have 3 copyrights in the form of unique work done in the field of architectural pedagogy. That is the science of teaching and learning. So since ours is an architecture pedagogy course, we have been working on ideas on how to develop different skills, how to develop different programs. And as a result of that, we have got 3 copyrights as intellectual property rights. We have registered copyrights. They belong to us. We do share them with others, whatever is there, but we own the copyright for those 3 unique works which you have done. So this is another feather in our cap. Um, uh, uh, I just told you about the films. 1 year films were made, and the topic was paradoxes in architecture. It coincided with the with our conference which Purnima talked about, the 25th year. So conference was paradox to paradigm. So we decided to have a studio on paradoxes in architecture. The portfolio was a movie. Each student had to make a movie depicting her or his paradox. So to judge the movie, not as a jury, but to take a look at the movies and give his own opinion, we invited renowned filmmaker Tejas Devuskar. You know him, he is an architect turned filmmaker and famous for directing the famous Madhuri Dixit movie Bucket List 2 years ago. And that year, the movie had just released, and Tejas, as an architect and a filmmaker, we thought it was an ideal combination. He came, he saw all the movies, and then we had a panel discussion. And that's the group of students who worked on the movies there. So this we had as one of our programs. Our placement is 100% out of 96. It's almost 100 students who have passed out. Our placement is 100% in the sense out of say 100 students who are passed out now, 96 really to be correct. 80% of the students have gone into teaching. They have been lapped up, they have been taken up. Everybody is into teaching. The rest of the students have gone back into practice. As I said, they came from practice, they went back into practice, and there is nobody at home. Everybody is either into practice or into teaching. So it has been 100 placement record right from year 1. Now we are in the 14th year of the course. First PhDs in architecture education. Now we have 3. Dr. Madhura Rathod, she is an associate professor with us, and she has the unique distinction of being the first student in architecture education and the first PhD in architecture education. So we have Dr. Tripti Dabe and Dr. Aparna Kole. 5 more students are doing their PhD now, and they will soon be awarded. Most alumni, as I said, are in senior positions in schools of architecture. 2 of them are directors at the MIT School of Architecture in different places in India. We have a large influx of students coming from Kerala and Tamil Nadu. So because this was the only course in India till 2 years ago, most of the people from Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, now Telangana, that part of Andhra Pradesh, all of them started coming in here. And a lot of people coming from Pune. So everybody has gone back and there is 100% placement. So some of our alumni, if you see Asif Khan, he is the principal of a college of architecture in Kerala. Aparna Kole is director of the MIT at Delhi. We have Professor Mahesh Mukha, who is a very senior practicing architect. And I'd like to tell you, our age group of students in this course varies from fresh graduates, and we have had people who have studied when they are 60 years of age. So we have a big gamut of students, and you will not imagine the way people get along. The age difference, just the barriers are removed in this course. Then we have architect Vikrant Bhute, who is a well-known practicing architect, and architect Mohini, who is now with the PWD. Just of alumni, and architect Sonal Fuke, who was also our first batch student. She went from she says her architectural grounding in architecture pedagogy made her open a school, a preschool, and she says this architecture course helped her open that, and she is now a psychologist and a psychotherapist. So this is in brief about this peculiar course with Priya Tag. I talk about it. It is peculiar. It is exciting, but then yes, it's different. And then we thought we would showcase it so that you know what this course is really like. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And finally, I would like to invite Dr. Sampada Peshwe, who would speak about the design related streams of Masters in Architecture. She has done her Masters in Product Design from Rochester University Institute of Technology from New York in USA in 2004. Dr. Sampada Peshwa is an associate professor at SMMCA. She is also the academic head and has been associated with the college for the last 13 years. Please, ma'am.
Kindly unmute yourself, ma'am.
Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Purnima, for handing over the platform to me. I'll start right away. Okay, give me just a minute. I don't know why it's not showing up. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I'll just jump right away. I wish everyone a very good afternoon to all the students. And this has been so far an extremely enriching session, and you have come to know about a lot of options that you have. And so this is just adding a little bit from the design point of view into the options that you have. Now, actually, architecture is a very special course. I have always considered it a very, very special course, and it's quite different, and it is richer than many of the other courses around, because it gives you a grounding basically in a very wide spectrum. So students get their basic foundation in art, in science, in technology, in sociology, in psychology, in philosophy. So because of all the subjects that are undertaken in architecture, it actually opens up a very wide platform for the students to pursue. So so basically, if we were to talk about the major domains, we have architecture, we have arts, we have technology, we have design, and many more domains into which the students can take up their master's studies after they do their BH. And like I mentioned, it is probably the undergraduate degree with the maximum diversification that is available, both architecture wise and allied fields wise. So up till now, you have seen in all the presentations till now that there's a very wide spectrum of courses available within architecture itself for MArch. Today I'll be just giving a small introduction to all of the courses that are available in the allied field of design. Now, the kinds of degrees that are given, because it's because they are all design related courses. So some of the colleges offer MArch, some of them offer MDes, which is Master of Design, some offer MSc, some offer MA, some offer MFA. Now, mostly in countries abroad, if you see mostly in Europe, you will see that MA degrees are given. USA, MFA is given popularly, and in India, it's mostly MDes that is given. But of course, there are exceptions, and every college has its own setup and the kind of degree that it will offer. There is also PG diploma also, which is given. Now, the most popular courses are the courses of product design, industrial, which is actually also called as industrial design, then graphic design, which is also called as visual communication. Now, there are some of the courses may say that it is product design, some may say industrial design, but the core or the soul of these courses is the same, so they are considered kind of parallel. So product design or industrial design, graphic design or visual communication, and then we have interior design. And these three are the courses that are also considered equivalent to MArch in accordance to the minimum standards of architectural education regulations of 2017. But other than these three courses, there is a plethora of different kinds of courses that are available. So we have web design, we have user experience design, we have fashion design, fashion merchandising, fashion retail, we have accessory design. So accessory could be in any field, furniture accessories, medical accessories, and then we have textile design, we have footwear design, animation film design, automotive design, transportation design, exhibition design, information design, toy design, ceramic design, ceramic and glass design, packaging design, or even photography. And this is just the kind of tip of the iceberg, because there are then like lots of variations or like iterations of these courses, but this is kind of the broader spectrum. So some of these courses like web design and user experience, they are more computer and more IT based. Fashion design and accessory design are towards the fashion world. Then like courses like footwear design, automotive design go towards the actual so they, because these fields are so wide by themselves that they have actually carved out a niche for themselves. So footwear design, automotive design, although they are a subset of product design, but because they by itself have such a great scope that they have actually become independent courses by themselves. Then exhibition design, it's in a way an extension of interior design, but exhibition design by itself is an independent world. Then again, information design comes slightly towards graphic design, but it's kind of amalgamation of like I would say web design and graphic design. Toy design is a very upcoming field, because day by day we are becoming more and more sensitive towards what are the requirements of children, their intellectual and their growth parameters. So toy design is a very upcoming field. Then we have ceramic and glass design. Packaging design is also a very good upcoming field. The college from where I did my master's, Rochester Institute of Technology, based in Rochester, New York, in USA. The packaging design course there was actually one of the best in the country at that point of time. And then we also have computer graphics and lots of other courses. Photography is also a very natural extension, because most of the architects we learn to document through photography, and then at some point of time we develop a very good sensitivity towards photography. So that is also a very natural extension to these. There are many more courses, but this for now should just give a very good idea of the spectrum of the courses available. Now the popular design entrance exams are the SEED exams. So SEED exam is actually for the IIT, and then the NID exam is for the National Institute of Design, and then NIFT. So these three are the main exams which scores of which are actually accepted into like various other universities. So for SEED, this score is valid in 6 IITs and then ISC Bangalore and then 4 other institutes. The score of NID entrance exam is valid through all of the 7 NIDs and then like some other institutes. And for NIFT, which is like for fashion technology, there are 17 NIFTs. So the score is valid in all of the 17 NIFTs and then other institutes. Now, some of these institutes like Srishti and GD Goenka also have their entrance exams, but these are very few. It's mostly these 3, like the SEED, the NID and the NIFT exams, which are like considered the more important exams. Now the structuring of these exams is it like of course depends upon so each of these SEED, NID and NIFT will have a slight variation in the way that the exams are conducted, but in general there is a design aptitude test to begin with, followed by a studio test or a GD round, and then a personal interview or a portfolio round. Now the kind of design skills that are sort of tested or are looked for when you are entering into these design courses are the creative and the artistic taste and ability, good communication skills, because communication is a very important part of all of these design courses and design in general. Then good sketching skills, sensitivity towards colors, innovativeness, good visualization skills, because you need to be able to visualize what you're designing, and ability to identify the market requirements and the trends. Now these are just some of the more important skills. There are many more intangible skills that also come into play, but this is kind of the more important ones. Now if we come to the course contents in general, because this is such a great variety of courses, I will just mention in brief that what are the overall course contents. Now all of these master's courses in design, they are all oriented towards mass production. because that is the difference between art and design. That art is at a personal level and design is at the societal level. So when we talk about design, when we're doing a master's in design, all of these degrees sort of talk about how to go about this entire business of mass production. So for that you have to look into the ergonomics or the like user interface, the market trends, so the aesthetic market trends, the functional market trends, and the technological market trends, technology itself, and the manufacturing process. So these 4 points plus creativity, of course, innovation, that is at the foremost in like any design course. So these are the general, the core contents of any of these design courses that you'll see. And also the most wonderful thing about all of these courses is that as an eligibility, there is no limitation that you have to come from a design background. So of course architecture students do quite well because they are basically equipped with this entire business of designing. But you have people from from literature, history, varied backgrounds coming in, which is the most interesting part, because when you start to do this design and with such a varied pool of people coming in, it creates a very interesting peer group. So that is actually the beauty of of all of these, like most of these courses, that most of them accept people from like different walks of life. Now the best institutes at the global level, again you must be aware that for any kind of ranking there are like always several rankings available. For US, within US it is US News that has been like quite a dependable ranking. Businessinsider.com is also one of the well-known rankings. So just to go through, because for every branch by itself there will be a separate ranking, because some institutes, some courses are better as compared to others, but this is like a general kind of sort of ranking that has been there given by Business Insider. So RISD School, Rhode Island School of Design, USA, is the topmost, followed by MIT Media Lab in the USA. These are worldwide or global level rankings. Then you have University of Cincinnati, USA. You have Carnegie Mellon. Then you have Parsons. Then you have Pratt Institute, USA. Then you have RCA, or the Royal College of Art in UK. Then you have Institute of Design at Stanford. Art Center College of Design, USA. So mostly it's all USA. And I am very, very happy to say that RIT, Rochester Institute of Technology, from where I did my master's, stands at 11th, ranked worldwide according to Business Insider. So I am quite happy to see this ranking. It has come a little up than like what it was previously. Then you have Copenhagen Institute of Interaction. So many more institutes, but these were the top ones which were given by Business Insider. And the kind of trends and the way to apply for admissions and the way that the courses are conducted changes. So if it's USA, there's a particular trend. If it is the UK, it's a particular trend. If it is like Europe, it's a particular trend. If it is Australia, things are slightly different. So depending upon where you want to study, if at all you want to go abroad, so that study has to be done. It is too vast to be mentioned in a small way, but like there's an entire world out there which you can pursue your design masters. And coming to it, we have in the past, I would say 15 to 20 years, design has really grown in leaps and bounds. When I passed out in 1996 and I wanted to do my product design, there were hardly any institutes. There was just NID and just IDC. There were only 2 institutes which offered product design in India. And coming from that point in 1996 to now today, so this is almost 25 years, we would say, 25, 30 years. And now there is a great proliferation which we about University, you have Symbiosis, you have Avantika University in Ujjain. You have Academy. And recently stepped Ahmedabad has also here, and now today is actually a very good time to be an architect or also a designer who has done any of these courses. So after you do your masters in design, you can either join a design firm. There are lots of good like design firms which have carved a niche for themselves in India. So you can join a design firm, you can join a corporate company, or then after that, after a few years of experience, you could have your own firm and you could become an entrepreneur. And of course, the option of teaching is always there because there are lots of institutes today. So there is a great scope in teaching of in the design field after you do a master's. If you take a look at which are the companies, so nowadays companies are also highly sort of vigilant about getting good people, good designers into their teams. So if it is let's say product design, so if it's product design, then you would have Hindustan Unilever, you would have Godrej, you would have Wipro, you would have Havells, IFB, and you would have GE Medical. So these are some of the companies which do most of the hiring for in design. Then if you come to accessory design, you have Jacquard, Serra, Kohler, Parry-Ware. Then you have Honeywell and Philips when it comes to electrical accessories. Jacquard, Serra and Kohler, all of them are like mostly bathroom accessories. Now it's actually a very long list. I have just picked up just like 5-6 companies which are like well known, so that you would get a bearing of what kind of companies do the hiring. For furniture design, you have Wipro, you have Godrej Interio, you have Steelcase, Hayworth. Spacewood, I am quite proud to say, is a Nagpur-based company, and it's doing wonderfully. It is actually one of the best companies in India in terms of its scope and its expanse. Then you have Featherlight, you have Monarch, and coming to human-computer interaction design, HCI. Then you have HCL, you have Google, you have Accenture, you have Capgemini, you have Naukri, and it's a long list of corporates. So this is just it's just tip of the iceberg, and there is a great scope after you do like masters in design. And you also have some design firms like Design, Pink Elephant, Indie Design, which are led by some of the leading sort of designers in India today, and they do interdisciplinary kind of designing. So with this, I come to the end of today's presentation, and it would be nice if you'd like to be able to talk more, but I think today's objective is to just give you a good spectrum of all the various kinds of streams that are available after you do your BArch. So I thank you for being here today and hope that this has sort of added to your knowledge. I didn't get cut in the middle. I got some sound, so I was a little confused whether I got cut or not. It was okay, right? I was heard till the end. Okay. So I'll stop sharing and hand over the platform to Purnima. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. And now it's time for the question answer session. I'd like to invite Renuka Chitrudev to conduct the session, please. Renuka.
Thank you, Purnima. A very good evening, everyone. It is the time to answer the queries of audience. The first question, I think, is to Jaju sir. It is about how to prepare for GATE exams.
See, the whole interaction was about, as Sampada ma'am told, that just to get introduced with the larger spectrum and the variety of options that you have. To talk about the specific question, it's I would say a very regular and a long process. It's just about getting specific. If you really into that, it's majorly about the subjects are architecture, jo syllabus hai, it's all from that, and then it's about spending 4 to 5 months, and then it's just understanding the pattern and all of that. The whole point is to generate the trigger. The whole objective of this discussion, I think, is to be aware of whatever possibilities that we have as graduates of architecture, and it's all it's waiting. The world is waiting for us for numerous opportunities. So I think.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. The next question is sort of very generic question. What is the appropriate time to do an MArch degree?
I think Priya can answer that.
Yeah, Priya ma'am, please.
Actually, there is no appropriate time as such, because learning can happen in any phase of your life. But I think after graduating, it would be better if you take a break at least for an year or two, wherein you go back to the real world, try to apply the knowledge already gained, and try to explore the world outside. Then decide upon choosing the PG course, because at that juncture, immediately after you might not be very clear as to what are my likings, what I am good at, and it may take a year of working in the knowing what actually I am good at and what I actually like and enjoy. So I think at least an year into profession would be better before embarking for journey in postgrad.
Thank you, Priya ma'am. Choosing the right master's course is one of the tough decisions of life, and I think by today's webinar, students will have some more light and information to sort of proceed ahead and ponder on their thoughts. There is a next question which is sort of technical, that there are, I think, few participants outside Maharashtra. They are asking what is the procedure to get into PG courses in Maharashtra.
Renuka, you can answer that question.
Okay, the process of entering into a PG course for in Maharashtra colleges is by a common entrance test called as Maharashtra CET, and it is conducted by the Directorate of Technical Education. Every year, this test usually happens in the month of May, and the forms to appear for the same, the window opens around in the last week of February, and the registrations are open till March, and the admission procedure is by a centralized admission process.
I will just like to add, because of the peculiar situation this year, the CET is not yet conducted, and it may so happen that the situation is not, unfortunately, not very, what I can say, improved in coming future. CET may not be held, and the admissions can happen by the centralized authority itself, but through merit, on the basis of the merit of your BArch course. So those who unfortunately may not have registered for CET can also look up to the website of Maharashtra Director of Technical DTE and get updated about CET. In case CET gets cancelled, those who have not registered for CET may also get a chance to get enrolled for the PG courses in Maharashtra. But that's not sure right now. It's just a possibility talked about.
The next question is about what are the career prospects to pursue architectural research and a journalism side in India and abroad?
I think Sampada ma'am can answer. Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Architectural journalism is myself writing about architecture, but it's mostly been architects who've been documenting their work through books. But architectural journalism or architectural criticism is like has upcoming only in the past few years or so. But there are institutes which do offer masters. I've seen some online courses. Exactly, I can't say confidently whether there is a master's course in India, but abroad there are like masters in journalism available, architectural journalism. But in India, because the print media is actually growing so much, and like there are lots of journals, so the scope for architectural journalism, I would say, is in all of these publications, physical books or online like journals that are there. So I would say it has actually a very good scope. So if somebody is interested, they should definitely try to pursue this field.
Thank you, Sampada ma'am. Would anyone want to talk about the architectural research in context of India?
Yes, we have a vast, what I would say, legacy of architecture, architecture heritage, contemporary architecture, architecture theory. But we as Indians are very poor in documentation and publication, and we are mostly relying on the foreign sources of foreign books, rather I would say, or resources for all our learning, even in the architecture course. So I think this is very essential and very necessary at this moment, that we all Indians get into hardcore research, documentation and publication through research and architectural journalism, to understand more, to gain insight into more of Indian architecture, past, present, and of course future as well.
Thank you, Priya ma'am. This is one of the most relevant questions pursuing to the current times. What's the future career prospects after doing masters, seeing the current situation and market scenario and saturation in the field of practice in architecture? I think everyone can answer this with their experience. Yeah.
First of all, I would like to say this. All of us architects are into such a kind of a creative profession which will never have any kind of saturation, first of all, because there is so much of possibility of diversification in architecture. No other course would offer you such an opportunity for diversification. From advertisement, filmmaking, animation to journalism, to actual hardcore architecture, design, construction management, sustainability. So all walks of life, whatever it is related to life, is in a way related to architecture. So I don't see any saturation even today or in future for architectural professionals. It is only our own ability to explore the potential of what we are capable of. So I think that going for PG courses will help you to understand these varied diversifications that are possible with a trained architect who can understand the various fundamentals of creativity, aesthetics, and it can be applied to any part or profession. So I don't see any saturation, and of course there is a very bright future, because the present century or even the present situation, entrepreneurship is the key, and one has to understand this creative aspects and entrepreneurial skills, and which can be explored more. I think I have.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Well, it's just about putting your best foot on the pedal and accelerate. Yeah. The next question is about what are the opportunities for an urban planner and for an urban designer?
I think Kaushal can answer.
Yeah, I think Kaushal sir can answer this.
Yeah, I think that already was discussed. It's about joining some private firm, picking up some government organization. There's a lot of national, international, options available. And of course, importantly, maybe if one realizes that, you really want to connect back to architecture, you can again start and have that connection back. It's also about, connecting with academics, teaching. And you never know that you can also extend that to a next level research, maybe pursuing one more master's or going for a PhD. So it's about going just ahead. And believe me, after 2 years of spending a good while in a program that you like, that really transforms you as an individual, as a as a professional. So there are a lot of things which await, and they just unfold as you go ahead. So I could understand the concerns, but I also say that being an optimist, I always feel that there's a lot which waits, which we don't know, that just follows.
Yes, true.
I will just like to add one thing, that being planner, you also have an opportunity to contribute in a large way through various NGOs that are also working in various aspects related to urban, rural development, sanitation, health, education. So planners also have a very wide scope, and the planning authority is not at just the local level or at the national level, but the planning authorities like WHO or World Bank at the international level also require trained planners. So there is a vast opportunity for urban designers and planners. And with, as I said, with geoinformatics, they also have other opportunities coming in.
Yes, Rao
Yeah.
madam.
I would just like to add to what Kaushal and Priya said. See, the pandemic is there, right? But the world will still not come to an end. So what will happen is the modus operandi will change, but the architects will be there, architecture colleges will be there, the teachers will be there, urban planners will be there, urban designers will be there, allied architecture fields will be there, you all will be there, we all will be there. In spite of the pandemic, the world will not come to an end. Yeah, post pandemic, the methods will change, the process will change, but still India will need architects. So India will have a number of colleges, India will have a number of students, India will generate many urban planners, many urban designers, and many other professionals in allied architecture fields. So let's be positive, the world will not come to an end because of the pandemic.
Kindly unmute yourself.
Yeah. Okay, that was the, I think we have answered most of the questions. There were other questions also, but based on the same themes. And all the very best to all the students who want to pursue further with their masters. And I hand over the proceedings to Purnima again. Thank you.
Thank you, Renuka. I would like to invite Tanvi for the vote of thanks.
Just 1 second.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Varjanti, there is a question that will these questions will be available after the webinar, or some of the answers, can we give those answers after the webinar ends? Is there a possibility that data is available to us so we can answer it?
No, ma'am. They can send the questions on the mail. We can take these questions on the mail and then we can answer. Yeah.
There was one.
One. Yes, Sampada.
just a small question that was asked, which I think is actually quite important to this entire session of today. That I saw a question with like like somebody asking how important is it to do a master's in the first place. So I will quickly say it is quite important to do a master's, because if I were to equate this like let's say with the medical field, so unless you specialize in a particular field, you can't have in-depth knowledge of that particular field. So masters, yes, you may take a break for a few years, but you should do masters, because once you do masters, your depth of understanding about architecture in general and that particular domain really deepens, and you actually quite mature as like as an architect. So it is quite like it is highly recommended that you do a masters. Because I thought that was quite central to this entire session, that yes, doing a master's is actually very, very important. So do not underestimate the power of a master's degree in architecture. So now handing it over back to Purnima or Tanvi, whoever. Yeah.
Just one more addition. Yeah. One more addition. Many questions are talking about the colleges, which colleges offer this course and that course. So I would like to add that we had given you in the Purnima's PPT, she had mentioned the colleges that are offering these courses, but at the same time we can share you that PDF, and it is also available on Council of Architecture website. Tanvi?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, hello, good evening, everyone. I am honored and lucky to have this opportunity to give a vote of thanks on this special day. Well, first of all, on behalf of our college, management and students, I would like to thank our speakers, Dr. Ujjwala Chakradev ma'am, Dr. Lakshmi Rao ma'am, Dr. Priya Chaudhary ma'am, Dr. Sampada Peshu ma'am, and architect Kaushal Jaju sir for taking their precious time out and consenting to be our speakers. Indeed, your words have inspired us all. Thank you so much for your contribution and efforts and for making this webinar a success. We have been fortunate enough to be assisted by our principal ma'am, Dr. Ujjwala Chakradev. You have been a constant support, ma'am, and you have given us a lot of encouragement. Thank you so much. And I would also like to thank our organizing team, teachers, staff members, and especially architect Vajanti Yadav and architect Sneha Mandekar for the technical support. And last but not the least, I would like to thank all our participants, professionals, and students from the field for showing their interest in this webinar. Well, once again, I thank everyone for making this program successful, and thank you and all the best for your bright future.